McGraw-Hill Audio presents The Power to Predict: How Real-Time Businesses Anticipate Customer Needs, Create Opportunities, and Beat the Competition. By Vivek Ranadive. Narrated by Chris Ryan. Forward by Frederick W. Smith, Chairman and CEO, FedEx Corporation. I met Vivek Ranadive some years ago, not long after our companies started doing business together. In getting to know him better, I also found some interesting parallels between our mutual experiences as entrepreneurs. Both of us built businesses around a simple concept that could be used to great effect in solving a complex problem. FedEx used the hub-and-spoke concept to solve the inefficiencies of point-to-point shipping, whereas Vivek used the notion of a general integration software layer to solve the inefficiencies of point-to-point connections between the software applications that run most companies. I believe Vivek has it right in thinking that the information that drives business today can be harnessed to allow a new level of foresight, especially when we are able to analyze that information in real time and detect meaningful patterns before they become problems or lost opportunities. We at FedEx learned long ago that our business depends on real-time monitoring, performance measurement, and rapid problem resolution. Today, virtually all businesses are driven by similar imperatives and need to know more about their operations more quickly. The Power to Predict talks about taking the next step by using a continuous information flow to literally see around the corner. This concept will become an increasingly critical element of both strategy formulation and operational execution. Most companies today are forced by competitive pressures to develop and adjust strategies almost continuously. It is much harder now to conceive a long-range plan and simply execute it to completion. Successful modern enterprises must often adjust their plans in real time to capitalize on the continuously changing environment, to take advantage of new opportunities as they arise, and to avoid unforeseen pitfalls. Companies have always had to be nimble to succeed, but the imperative to become proactive gets stronger each day as business becomes more global and threats increase. Holding on to a competitive edge means staying one step ahead, and the more reliably one can predict the next step is often the difference between success and failure. In the case of operational execution, the new challenge is not simply satisfying customer desires, but accurately predicting what customers want before they know they want it. This means proactively ensuring customer satisfaction by making the buying experience predictably positive. At FedEx, this means having the ability to update customers on the location of their shipments before they ask. We want to know as much as possible about each and every transaction, so we can ensure delivery as promised and keep customers informed on a real-time basis. The next step is to predict service disruptions before they occur, so we can reroute shipments or notify the customer as early as possible of any delay. In the future, every company must be able to recognize what is coming early enough to take evasive action or steer toward an emerging opportunity. A continuous process of striving to extend one's field of view, as a pilot relies on radar for safe navigation, will be needed to see what's ahead. While no one can fully predict the future, information can be used to improve foresight on an ongoing basis. The Power to Predict challenges managers to think about the use of technology and information to augment historical analysis and business intelligence to produce better results. Chapter 1. Why Predictive Business Today? Real-time business, based on the collection of current data, has become the standard operating procedure for leading-edge companies over the past decade, enabling them to respond rapidly to changing business conditions. Now we are seeing a transition to what I call predictive business, or the ability to anticipate business problems and opportunities, and to act preemptively. Real-time business was about doing things faster. Predictive business is about doing things you could not do before. As Malcolm Gladwell postulated in The Tipping Point, granular events can build to the point of critical mass from which something new emerges. I believe that we have now reached that point in the real-time business arena. Our abilities to capture, analyze, and recognize patterns in dynamic data have reached critical mass and now provide the ability to anticipate future business events with a high degree of probability. When combined with the flexibility and agility to act before an event occurs, this creates a powerful new way of conducting business. Predictive business will transform the way companies of all types are managed. It will have a broad and profound impact on business practices, akin to that of the introduction of corporate networks linking desktop computers and servers in the 1980s. Before we had computer networks, every desktop was an island, and information traveled between workers in reusable memo envelopes. Today, it is difficult even to imagine the inefficiencies and slower pace of pre-network days. But networks did not only accelerate business and make it more efficient, they also changed people's jobs and responsibilities, removed pieces of the organizational structure in many areas, expanded the organizational structure in others, reduced decision cycle times, enabled companies to collaborate more closely with their suppliers and distributors, and led to improved customer service. Similarly, predictive business signals a radical new way of orchestrating business processes with the benefit of foresight. Companies might, for example, be able to predict and prevent the loss of a customer to a competing supplier, anticipate rising demand for a particular product and boost production, or initiate proactive measures to mitigate risks they see arising in the future. Predictive business will transform management's realm of possibilities for change and change management. It will enable companies to invest in new product development with greater certainty of success because they will know what their customers want. Most importantly, it will enable companies to take advantage of new opportunities and to avoid pitfalls that might have cost them millions of dollars. New ballgame. Predictive business is a whole new ballgame. It is not just about collecting more data or using more sophisticated analytics. Rather, it is about combining technologies, business techniques, and orchestrated processes to better leverage your corporate assets. Sports provide us with a good way to understand the value of predictive business. Think about your favorite team. They obviously know how the game works, the rules, scoring system, layout, and boundaries of the playing surface, and so on. To be competitive, the team needs to excel in at least one aspect of the game, and be pretty good in all others. They also scout opponents, analyzing their previous games to learn their strengths, weaknesses, and tendencies in certain situations. Does the team play better at home, on grass, against their own division, making them the odds-on favorite over a division rival? They gather intelligence on competing teams in the same way you might use market research to prepare for a new sales initiative. During the game, the team attacks, defends, and tries to find ways to outflank the opponent, run up the score, and defend against a big play. In this regard, the team is like a real-time business, out there absorbing everything that is happening on the field and acting upon the information gathered. Then a situational play is ready for execution. The coaches have analyzed the opponent's previous defenses and noticed a new scheme being deployed. Your team's offense immediately calls for a pass down the middle. The opponent is caught off guard and is ill-prepared to defend. Your favored team went into the play with a high degree of confidence that their tactics would work, based on the outcome in similar previous situations. That's predictive execution. So now the question becomes, do you want to run your business like a championship sports team, taking the field with confidence and then observing and proactively searching for the perfect time to call your new trick play? Or do you want to run it like you're at a casual softball game, swinging for the fences at every pitch, regardless of the score, situation, or pitcher, because it's fun and you're not keeping score anyway? Are you still running your business relying on stagnant historical data because you've come to expect that it's the best you can do? Or are you rounding second base, paying close attention to your third base coach for real-time information? He's your predictor, watching the outfielder running down the line, estimating the timing of the throw and the infielders moving into position. To advance the state of business, companies must explore how, with the right principles and technology, they can leverage predictive techniques to create competitive advantage. If you take real-time events and correlate them with historical patterns, you can anticipate events that hold the potential for tremendous profit. The retailer, for instance, may identify the best customers in its stores or online ready to make purchases today. These customers generally spend more and leave happier when they are recognized as valuable and presented with special offers, personalized to reflect their purchasing patterns. Businesses are beginning to adopt this mode of operation with startling results. The convenience store chain 7-Eleven, for example, is using predictive business techniques to revamp its stores. By collecting and analyzing sales data, the company is dynamically matching store orders to customers' demands. We've gone from having no idea what we were selling to predicting what customers want even before they know it, says David Podeschi, 7-Eleven's Senior Vice President for Merchandising. Similarly, Walmart mines its masses of real-time and historical data to predict consumer buying patterns. Who would have guessed that strawberry Pop-Tarts and beer would fly off the shelves when a hurricane warning was issued? Walmart identified this trend and now stocks up on these as well as more practical items in hurricane season. Similarly, in the manufacturing arena, predictive business creates the ability not only to manage supply and demand chains, but also to anticipate events that may cause changes in operations, distribution, or logistics, making it possible to take preemptive action. In 2020 Foresight, Crafting Strategy in an Uncertain World, Hugh Courtney writes, "The truth is that uncertainty is not an all-or-nothing phenomenon. Even in the most uncertain business environments, analysis can usually penetrate the uncertainty and withdraw strategically relevant information." Kevin McGee, research fellow at industry analyst Gartner, goes further. He argues that contrary to what many believe, it is possible to trace all major corporate disasters to causal events and factors that appear in history. He goes on to say that if companies used knowledge about those events at the time they arose, then outcomes could be predicted with an astonishing degree of accuracy. Although there are many situations beyond your control, your attention needs to focus on the things in this world that are measurable and actionable. Furthermore, we have found that when better business principles and technology are correctly applied, events can be controlled to your benefit. This will resonate for all companies where a better context, sooner predictor provides significant competitive advantages. If you take real-time events and correlate them with historical patterns, you can anticipate future events with greater accuracy. What is predictive business? If we take a bird's-eye view, then we see that predictive business is the result of a trend that started 2 decades ago. In the 1980s and the early 1990s, companies started to recognize that they must be tightly connected to suppliers in order to seamlessly deliver products and services to their customers. Supply chain management became part of the business lexicon. The supply chain concept was a build it and they will come way of thinking. But this grand idea proved to be limited when some prominent companies built it, yet the customers didn't come. They had misjudged and improperly forecasted demand for their products, and were left with a great deal of inventory that had to be written off. One of the most dramatic illustrations of the failure of supply chain management came in 2001, when Cisco Systems found itself holding huge inventories of components and unfinished goods, forcing a $2.2 billion write-off. Although Cisco has since recovered and grown, its inability to detect and correct this problem before it became immense raised serious questions about the application of real-time business principles to a large, complex business that outsources its manufacturing operations. If a model real-time business that boasted about its ability to balance its books in 24 hours was unable to avoid such a setback, what did this mean for other businesses? The next step in the evolution of business was the demand chain, the build it when they come way of thinking. Today, this model works for your neighborhood deli, where your favorite sandwich can be assembled in a matter of minutes. In the computer industry, Dell is well known for its build-to-order approach. Similarly, in Europe, automobiles are typically custom-ordered from the manufacturer. Yet build-to-order also has its limitations, notably not providing customers with the instant gratification of driving a new car off the dealer's lot, or using that new computer the day it is purchased. Some would say that this model forces the inventory burden onto suppliers, rather than creating a business model geared to meeting customer demand. In contrast, predictive business enables what I call the eager network. Build it because you know they are coming. Using this concept, businesses can avoid the pitfalls of both the supply and demand chains. You don't have to stockpile inventory or force your suppliers to do so, nor do you put yourself in a situation where you don't have enough of the right product at the right time, potentially losing business or the opportunity to win new business. But how do you drill into uncertainties and turn them into opportunities? Predictive business, fueled by real-time data, provides the answers, as I will explain. Real-time business drivers. Since the advent of the business computer, companies have been running on historical data, what I call data at rest, stored in large repositories or data warehouses. Every day, more data poured into the warehouse, adding to the accumulated knowledge. This growing store of data provided a record of the past, but was inadequate for making decisions about current or future situations, even when business intelligence analytics were applied. Then, as technology progressed, it provided the means to accelerate the flow of data passing around the world and around a company, providing decision-makers with current, real-time data. Real-time business has changed the way executives approach strategic planning, changed the way managers allocate resources, and changed the way line-level employees perform daily tasks. Implementing real-time techniques has had a profound effect on thousands of businesses by accelerating the pace of operations and enabling faster and more accurate decision-making. The value of real-time information can be seen in the quick resolution of production line problems, or the ability of a business to reroute in-transit inventory to where it is most needed, or a consolidated production schedule for 30 manufacturing facilities in 20 countries across 15 time zones. It may mean redirecting the efforts of your sales force, adjusting your advertising to address new circumstances, or shifting production to a new location. In all cases, it means responding rapidly to changing conditions based on up-to-the-minute business data. Many people mistakenly think real-time information equals real-time business. This is not entirely true. Real-time business means having the ability to coordinate and control assets and activities at every level, so you can sense and respond to change as it happens. This ensures your business is agile, yet under control. I define real-time business as the ability to give customers what they want, when they want it, in the manner they want to receive it. Here are a few of my favorite examples demonstrating the value of real-time business. It helped Pirelli gather order and sales data from thousands of suppliers and distributors worldwide, enabling the company to reduce excess inventory by 20%, while increasing inventory throughput, leading to a 5% increase in revenues. Adidas Solomon implemented real-time business process management of their internal supply chain. They are now seeing reductions in processing costs with their suppliers, while bringing new products to market faster. Southwest Airlines upgraded its flight management system to provide pilots with guaranteed delivery of critical information, thus reducing flight delays and cancellations, and improving the ability to meet the airline's stringent customer service requirements. Real-time data helps you see what is happening right now. Often, this is critical to business performance. For instance, understanding what a customer needs when the sales associate is across the counter may help develop an opportunity to upsell. But you only know that an opportunity exists by processing and synthesizing the many signals that arise during the sales process. History helps draw the background canvas, but it doesn't help fill in the foreground where the action is taking place. Historical data can be compared to an old photograph that captures a single moment in time, forever crystallizing it so people can examine it whenever they wish. But a single picture cannot put the recorded event in context. If you take multiple pictures in sequence and arrange them in an album, the relationship of one image to another over time becomes increasingly clear. This leaves the viewer with a substantially more complete idea of the event that actually occurred. But if we want to relate a series of historical events to the present, then what we need is a video camera streaming real-time information to us in the present. This metaphor can apply to business-critical data, both historical and real-time, and it sets the scene for a transformational shift in how we regard data. 20 years ago, when I first got involved in building real-time information distribution systems for the trading floors of Wall Street, we were managing 600 events a second. 5 years later, we were moving events over the network at a rate of 4,000 events per second. Now, we're able to push a staggering 200,000 events a second to a broad set of recipients on an ever-increasing variety of devices. Today, data flows from countless streams, providing a dynamic, three-dimensional depiction of what is happening now. Data is no longer inert, it's dynamic and fluid. It is data in motion. In both the past as well as today's business environments, managers are presented with the latest operations reports. But what is the real value of these documents? Only after a complete review can you finally make necessary business decisions. What about some of the poor results in the report? Could you have implemented a business process the week before that would have prevented or at least mitigated the effect? If customers were not signing up for a new service you were actively promoting, you'd want to know as soon as possible. That way you could adjust your strategy, perhaps plug in a replacement offer, and resume your monitoring immediately. You now have that luxury. Using a correlated and integrated flow of information from sensors, routers, and all other computer-based sources, you can trigger an immediate search for service issues across an entire region and assess the situation. You can then review the events that your customers experienced and the events that occurred when your customers called your service centers. You now have a real-time picture of the situation, in context. You are able to make truly informed decisions to resolve the current problem. If the issue you identify suggests a process change, you can now plan to ensure the problem is not replicated in the future. The result might well be millions of dollars not lost, while you move on to proactively build the next differentiated service offering. Transition to predictive business. Companies will increasingly transition toward predictive business as they begin to look at business events in greater and greater detail and in tighter and tighter time frames. Using historical knowledge, you will create a set of standard patterns in which behaviors of events, customers, and transactions will be identified. The next time you see this sequence of behaviors aligning in the same or similar fashion, you will know the likelihood that it will result in the same kind of outcome. To achieve the highest level of success, the implementation of predictive business methods must be hard-baked into the company's infrastructure. Not only your IT infrastructure, but also your business model, your operating plan, and your corporate culture need to be aligned with predictive business. For senior managers, this means embracing predictive business techniques and demonstrating their commitment to this new approach, even if it also means relinquishing the role of the business sage whose gut feelings lead to good decisions. I realized that not so long ago, when the world was running at a slower pace, really smart business people could put discrete business events together, say, aha, and then make the necessary business decisions. However, the accelerating pace and complexity of business make it extraordinarily difficult to have these aha moments. Increasingly, we rely upon technology to give us the information we need to make decisions. Today, I would estimate that about 30% of commercial business software incorporates presumptive scripting, invoking an automatic reaction when specific events occur. But over time, we will see a greater percentage of situations where the future is forecast by pattern recognition models. These models will take action instantly to keep us ahead of the event curve. It will mean that some decision-making will fall out of human hands, but people will design alternative pattern recognition scenarios within a given business model. Those models and their projected outcomes will be tested. Then, decision-makers will have an array of outcomes from which to select the most likely scenario in a given set of circumstances. No pain, no gain. A friend of mine remarked that leaders must need a great deal of vision to incorporate predictive business into operations. I replied that it isn't so much about vision as it is about relieving the pain of missed opportunities, unforeseen problems, and unanticipated expenses. Pain is a big motivator when it comes to revolutionizing the way we do business. One example arose when a prospective telco client told me, "We need to reduce our customer churn. How can this be fixed?" Another was when a very large consumer goods company approached me to ask, "How can we ensure that our products are on supermarket shelves whenever customers want to buy them?" Despite millions of dollars spent on technology, these companies' pain points were not being adequately addressed. The volumes of data they were collecting kept growing, but they did not have the technology to integrate the immediate capture of a complex event and a corresponding counter-tactic. The computing model was database-centric, which meant people needed to know everything up front, organize all that information, and somehow create a monstrous database to accommodate it. On top of this, businesses were required to use hardwired, point-to-point connections between business applications. Then, if anything changed, which it inevitably did with increasing frequency, everything had to be redesigned, recoded, retested, and redeployed. Fortunately, technology has progressed since then. We are now in the age of process-centric computing, an age in which integrated systems share data. The resulting correlations between data and processes provide a more complete and contextual picture of situations. Businesses can adapt their way of doing things without interrupting operations. The right information flows to and through the enterprise to get wherever it needs to be, whenever it needs to be there. In addition, the latest wave of information technology has allowed businesses to remove communication and performance barriers. Predictive business is the next leap forward. It will enable companies to simulate, model, and manage.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?